Hey y'all. So today I want to talk about when 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 you start to change and become a better version of yourself. Um, I think it's really hard for family and friends, people that know you. Sometimes I see this. I see it go both ways. You know, sometimes it's hard for them to um, I guess, believe or accept that, like you're not doing the things that you used to do with them. Um, they may even say things like, you're no fun anymore. Um, or maybe like, hey, why don't you ever call me? Why don't you ever talk to me anymore? Um, they kind of see it like about them, like it's about them. And that's understandable, like I don't get mad at them, or like it it's not something that they don't know what they don't know. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know what I didn't know before I really started down the path to healing, and confronting some things that I believed in, and just started to kind of lean into what I wanted and not so much of what everybody else wanted for me, or who everybody else wants me to be. A lot of times we sit from a place of looking for happiness on the exterior when it's all in the interior. My mom always told me, like if you search for happiness and people, a person, place, or thing, then you're never going to be happy. And so really, and all those things are external, right? Um, Everything internal is, your health, your emotions, your spiritual, your identity, knowing who you are, and what you like, and being okay with that, and being comfortable. Like, hey, no, I like to eat, I don't know, pineapples on pizza, Um, so it's like being okay with that, like I have done it myself where somebody will say, oh, yeah, I don't really care about that. And then I don't really give my opinion. I'm just like, yeah, okay, like, or I might be like, yeah, it's all right, like, or, instead, and holding back on what I really think about it. Like if I really like it and they don't, is this going to cause a confrontation right now? Like, is this going to get into like a debate? So it's really like we've learned how to um, tread on ice, or another thing that could actually be on this is walk on eggshells, because if you, in your life, if you grew up in an environment where you couldn't really speak your mind, or do something or whatever, you learned that it wasn't safe. You had to walk into rooms and read them. You had to see, like, is this a safe place for me to be myself, talk about things that I like to talk about? Like, is this a safe place? And I think that, you know um, you'll find that in those places where you don't feel safe, you are more quiet. And then, whenever you go to places that you're like, you feel like you're in your element, you feel comfortable, you feel like these people are not going to judge me, and I'm just free to be me. You're more free, you're happy, you're fun, So it's really, I think it makes it really hard because you're looking for like a balance. You're around a lot of people that don't understand you. Maybe it's like a family function that you really want to go because you want to be around these people, but at the same time, you're feeling like, I just don't feel like I fit in anymore. Like I don't feel, it's not that I feel like I'm better, like, I think that we find these places that, it just didn't resonate with us. Maybe it resonates with other people, and that's okay. And we're not judging, like, it's not a judgmental thing. it's you do you, I do me, and that's it's meeting people where they are. And I think that that's really the heart of it, is just meeting people where they are, including yourself. Accepting some of the things that happened to you in your past, accepting people the way they are. They don't know what they don't know, and just meet them where they are. You can say, I don't like this about that person. My cat's trying to get on the thing. But it's really, and it takes practice. It's so much practice to being able to not react to other people, because that's just our human nature. Sometimes it's the way we were conditioned. It's what we learned. It's what we know. So building those neurotransmitters that I think I've talked a little bit about. Neuroplasticity is your neurotransmitters. There's so many chemicals that connect to all parts of your body, and being able to really lean into understanding that is even more, because then you're like, oh wow. But you have different pathways in your brain, and it's going to keep on walking that same path for reactions and stuff. And so in the times that you're not in the situation, because that's a good time to try to use it, but if you haven't practiced it, it's hard to actually do it, so even when you're not angry and stressed, practice those modalities, those breathing exercises, tapping. I can get into more of those if anybody's curious about that. I probably will, because I've been talking about the tapping one a few times. But really just to just dive into some of those things and learn different ways that might help you with dealing with stress. You don't practice while you're under stress, because we're definitely going to be going back to our coping method that we already learned. So it is a good time to see if you can get it into motion. So it's kind of, you practice when you're not under it, and then when you're under it, you see if it works. I did that with kind of like with my test. I practiced so many different things for my nervous system, and I said, okay, I'm going to take this test. This is part of I've got to take this test. It's just something I've got to do to see if I've still got test anxiety. And I was doing a lot of work. I really was. And then the day that it came to do the test, I kind of I did have a panic attack. Actually, I'm not going to say kind of. I had a panic attack. I could tell you exactly how it happened and what I was thinking. I was hoping that somebody would pull the fire alarm really soon so we can just get out of there. I wanted to flee. I wanted to get out of there. I just didn't feel, my nervous system was saying, this isn't safe. This isn't safe. And you don't want to do this. You don't want to do this. This isn't safe. This isn't safe. And I kept on, and through my practice, I was telling my body and my nervous system, this is safe. We're going to take this test. It's safe. We're going to be okay. It's okay. The material, and just doing all this work. So now, just looking back at that, I still realize there's work to do. And if I really, sorry, I pulled this thing off. If I really want to be more intentional on healing this part of me, I have to really set in place those things, those practices. If you're practicing to run a marathon, you're not going to wait a month before the marathon to start practicing. You're not going to start training. You're going to probably, it's going to be probably, you're probably going to take baby steps into it. You're running a marathon. maybe start training for a 5K first, or and work your way up to the marathon. But if you want to go straight for the marathon, that's okay too. And then you just start training, do the research. How many months is recommended to start training for a marathon? What are some things to do to start training for a marathon? So it's just really, just I guess my message really is just to kind of not allow other people's thoughts and opinions and judgments, and I'm speaking to myself here too right now, hold you back from walking into who you are and being yourself, and just maybe even prepare yourself for confrontations, beforehand, ahead of time, if you've got somebody safe that you can talk to about, just some things that you can do to prepare yourself before you're around some of the people that kind of make you feel, guilty for becoming a better version of yourself, or making fun of you, or, saying you're weird or whatever, like I've seen it, I've heard it all. I mean, like it's out there, it's real, but don't allow it to discourage you from becoming the better version of yourself. So that's my message for today, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.